After a fantastic game just now, Space Soldiers do prevail over SK, and then we've still got more action left to come. G2 versus Tyloo is, of course, what I'm on about. I'm Rick Astley's long-lost son, and joining me is Hugh Grant's stunt double. How are you doing, Hugo?
Happy to be here. Took a bit of a break from acting just to cast some Counter-Strike, and
that's
obviously
good.
A couple of great games. We've had two 16-14s in a row, looking to make it a third close match, and I'm sure, actually, well, I'm not sure, but there's a really good chance that it might be.
Yeah, and you know, me and you, we're going to be carrying you guys through this one. Of course, we're never going to give you up.
Never going to let you down.
Yeah, you know, coming into this, G2 v Tyloo. I like the way that sounds for a start, just phonetically. The way, you know, when you read it out, it's a good game to have. How are you feeling heading in towards this one? Because obviously, Tyloo are kind of this team where it seems like, you know, they're kind of the best in, you know, within the Asia region, and we've seen them do phenomenally well. But then their stats are very inflated because they don't really play up against many EU or NA teams, and we do see them struggle a little bit, right, whenever they kind of come over and play in the international events. So I think this is going to be a bit of a tricky one, right?
It's a really hard one to predict, right? I think you've probably got to lean a little more towards G2 just because of recent results.
I think I'm definitely going to be leaning towards G2.
But at least talking about Tyloo in the Chinese and Asian region specifically, I think it's undoubtedly, you know, the best team in the Chinese and Asian region. They prove it time and time again. The Asian minor, they, you know, stomp their way through, going through to, you know, the Cologne qualifiers, actually coming here. They 2-0'd 4 matches in a row. They didn't drop a map. In that, they beat the other two best Chinese teams, both Flash and in that fairly new roster that's been doing okay, kind of underperforming, I guess you could say, and Vici Gaming as well, obviously, the CyberZen roster. So, you know, I don't think you can argue that Tyloo aren't the best in their region. That's safe to say. The addition of Bintet has been great. They've been doing fairly well. But then when, as you say, you move over to the EU region, they start to have a few struggles. They weren't able to make it through the major qualifier. They only got 1 win there. And even then, it was only a 16-14 versus Renegades, I think. So the rest of them, they lost to, you know, Vega, HR, teams they should be competing against. And flip side, I think it was, they should be competing against these kind of teams. So, like, carrying on and now putting them in a situation up against top teams in the world, this is a really hard one for Tyloo.
Yeah, you know, actually, it wasn't flip side. It was Liquid.
Oh, Liquid.
But yeah, so. Yeah, I have to agree with you, right? G2 as well are a team that I think have been going from strength to strength. When we saw them first come around, it took them a very long time to kind of have everything gel. But I would say that, you know, they have been going from strength to strength. Right now, they look amazing. In particular on Cobblestone, I think so, out of something like the last 14 games they've played on it, they've literally lost 1.
Yeah.
So they are looking fantastic right now. What way are you leaning, I have to ask?
I'm leaning G2, obviously, but that's something quite funny you got to talk about map beaters. We were talking about this a little bit before the actual the match, or before we came on camera. These two teams' best maps are also the other team's worst maps. So Tyloo's best map is Mirage. G2's Instaban is also Mirage. They've never played G2. They've never played Mirage, sorry, G2 this being, in the last 3 months. Tyloo don't like Cobblestone. So looking at the map comparison, it's quite entertaining to see these two teams hate the other team's map. So going into that, we are not going to see Mirage or Cobble, so either of the team's best 2 maps are not going to come in. I think that kind of leaves it around the kind of Cache or Overpass region. I'm myself favouring towards Cache, because this is not only a good map for G2, but it's also Tyloo's second best map pick statistically. But that's when you get weird, right? Because you can't really too heavily rely on statistics when it comes to Tyloo, because as you said, they just stomp the Asian region and don't have any issue with it.
Yeah, you know, Cache was the one win they did get against Renegades. They beat them on that map 16-14, but that's still very, very close. And I would argue, you know, when we can benchmark these two teams, Renegades are definitely kind of below G2. I haven't offending anyone saying that. I'd say that's fairly.
Harry, I know,
right?
Assumptions.
But so yeah, so you're saying that you're probably going to be leading the way at G2.
Yeah, I think most people would be in this one.
Yeah, well, you know, to kind of get a view of everyone else's opinion, there's only one way to do that, and that is, of course, the bet way. I wonder if we do have those odds ready to see. At least I hope we do. If not, segued into a really nice point, used quite a nice, you know, throw transition to get there, and haven't been rewarded for it. So no, it looks like we're not ready. That's fine. That's fine. You know, it's all good. Well, oh, there we go. Thank you.
We got them.
So
I think those are pretty accurate.
Yeah.
The thing is, when you have like a massive underdog matchup, G2's, you know, at least statistics are always going, not statistics, sorry, but betting odds are always going to be low, because, you know, there's such a huge chance that they're going to be able to close out this match. That being said, it's giving a lot of leeway to Tyloo to actually take this one, considering Tyloo.
That's what they say when they celebrate.
Exactly. Seeing as we're probably going to be ending up on Cache, going into this one, you know, upset potential always on the cards. That's something you got to take into account. Tyloo are a team that time and time again have upset top EU teams. We look back to last year when they kind of started first making their performances in DreamHacks, at least over in Europe, and they managed to take, you know, a map of SK or Mirage, a map of Na'Vi, I think it was also Mirage, and bring you know, an elimination match very close, I think, in OT versus Mirage, versus Na'Vi. So
versus Mirage.
Versus Mirage, indeed.
Classic.
You're calling me out, Harry. You're calling me out.
When the maps start fighting you, that's when things get real tricky.
It's been a long day.
No, I know, it has. And we're already a couple of hours in. There's still so much more left to come. But yeah, okay, there's one name that kind of rings through everyone's mind when you think of Tyloo, and that's probably Bintet, right? He's been fun. Oh, actually, you know what? Let's leave this point. I'll come back to it, Hugo. We can reminisce. We've got the vetoes, and yeah, we can see that G2 they're going to be banning out Mirage, as you would expect. The nuke bang going to come in from Tyloo, which is one, you know, that is kind of their instant veto. It's a map that they don't elect to play, so I'd say that makes perfect sense. Then comes the Cobble bans. Yep. There we go. We get those two out of the way nice and early on. Curious to see what G2 go ahead and get rid of. It's going to be Overpass.
That surprises me, because that's actually quite a good map for G2, at least recently. But I didn't think it'd be the final map. I think we're still leaning towards Cash, and it's looking like that's going to be the way. Inferno and Cash left, and there we go. Can
you say 100% in his map predictions thus far?
Yeah, both
move over,
correct.
Thorin. It's all good. This man's coming for you.
Yeah.
On the analyst desk.
Look at me. I'm insane. I even called Space Soldiers to beat SK. I said to you before the pistol round, I said,
yeah, you
SK
did.
Always get overconfident. They always lose to underdogs. Happens every time.
Yeah, no, that's very true. Hugo, so far your knowledge astounds me.
I know.
Why are you even casting?
I'm going to quit while I'm ahead, because I know everything's
just stop making predictions. Yeah, no, that's good. I think yeah, that's the best way to succeed in life, right? If you're doing good, just don't even try and extend that. Just give up. And yeah, I mean, hopefully that's not true for any of these teams that are competing now. Hopefully they do continue on to do great things. But yeah, so G2, they're probably my favorites to win this one. When you look at the map being Cash, how would you say that's going to fare for these two teams?
I mean, this is a classic French map, isn't it? We look back at the kind of old envious style, you know, major winners back in Romania last year, and this is a map they always love to play. We constantly see those second round force buys, the Tech 9 fast plays on A. It was kind of Envy who always loved to use that, you know, smoke setup. Second round they lose pistol on T side, and they go for that smoke setup with Tech 9s and just burst that A site, and they always seem to pick it up just running into the site with Tech 9s. This is a map that the old Envy, who just now, you know, parts of G2, but just the French team in general love this map. So going into this one, obviously that's going to be extremely helpful for G2's morale. It's one of their best maps as well as this roster. They've only lost, I think, 2 games on it in the last 3 months. So very dangerous, but again, you can never rule out Tyloo, Harry. That's the thing we've always got to be sure. We've just had an upset win. We've just had Space Soldiers take down what some would say are the best team or second best team in the world right now. Upsets are always on the cards.
Yeah, and you know, you spoke about morale there and how that affects things. And you know, there's one man whose handsome face, amazing facial hair, etc., can carry any team through the lowest of lows, the hardest of hardships, and that is, of course, MBK. Let's take a look at him in this video.
I got into Counter-Strike because of my family mostly. So my brother, my dad, even I think my sister was playing some of it. My family was often playing together with the whole community back in the days. Yeah, naturally got into Counter-Strike. In general, I've always been a very quiet and calm and kind of reserved person. Like, I'm not openly sharing what I think or what I feel about something. Becoming a pro gamer has been a pretty smooth thing. It just became from a hobby that was something that we were very passionate about, and we're just practicing like monsters because we just had passion for the game, for competition. But aside from that, I didn't wake up one day to just think, all right, tomorrow I'm going to be a pro. That's it. One of the big things with G2 as well is that we didn't start like all the other French team by winning a tournament right after creating the roster. So you have to understand how to come back and never losing the right mentality and always trying to work your way back to the top. And then we started grinding as a team to become better together. That's why this roster has something different that the other teams didn't have before. You need sacrifices if you want to reach the top, that's for sure. Nothing is ever given to you. So Work will be what brings you at the top when talent is fading on a day or another. Talent is a part of it, but talent is not everything. And so if you want to be the absolute best, you need to have something special in your blood that is hard to explain, that is just here. Kenny has been a prime example lately where he won maps by just going crazy with his up, winning crazy clutches.
Config, I think actually his own gun blocked him. Kenny's here! Exactly where he was, what a snap!
This is why he's considered one of the world's very best AWP players, so confident.
Pulls him off, and he's got it on the up. How does Kenny pull this off time and time again?
And the same goes with Shox, in a bit of a different way, where Kenny is completely blunt and goes over the opponent's face. Shox has a more sneaky approach into the game. It is because of dedication and always trying to make things right, and truly accepting that no matter what I need to do for the team, I will do it as good as I can and trying to make it at the highest level possible. Always being professional, respectful, giving my best at every game and being passionate and making the right decisions. I try to always give something back to the people that are taking time in their lives to follow us, write us nice messages, come to events, ask for signatures. Giving back, I think, is one of the most important things that you have to do with the community. The range of emotions that happen in a Counter-Strike game, I think, is what bring happiness to the people that are watching it. The intensity of the rounds and the fact that in Counter-Strike nothing is ever over.
Trigger, make it an ace with a knife. Is that possible? He's got a deal out. It is possible. It certainly is possible. He gets all 5 with the knife included for MBK. From 1 and 8 to something absolutely great. They pulled this back.
The super team they fought when they first started, but here they are winning ESL Pro League.
This time there is no way we're not making it to the playoffs. We're too motivated. ESL One Cologne is too meaningful for us to just crash down in groups and not making it onto that stage where hopefully there's going to be a whole French crowd that is going to cheer for us and support us. We cannot disappoint the French community once again, and so now we're coming into the win.
Something's gonna bring the change, calling us to fly away.
Emotional, heartfelt, genuine. Dare I say motivational. A little bit beautiful as well. That was MBK, a fantastic gentleman. And, you know, just a kind of a master of communicating emotions across. But speaking of communicating, Hugo.
Good segue.
Me and you spoke about this a little bit, and you have a particular, you know, problem with Tyloo when it comes to their communication.
I don't think it's even my problem. I think it's their problem, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, I think it is as well. I think that's a fairly genuine point.
Yeah, Bintet, right? So for those who aren't aware, Bintet's the Indonesian player who recently got picked up by Tyloo. I'd say fairly recently. And the issue is he's Indonesian and they're Chinese. So there's obviously going to be some kind of language barrier.
Yeah.
I've heard his English is okay, and some players on Tyloo speak bits of English, I've heard, but he's not fluent in Chinese and they're not fluent in English or Indonesian or anything. So there's always going to be communication issues. So I've heard there's a few issues in that sense that, you know, he's trying to speak in English to them. They're trying to call in Chinese while also feed him information in English. And while he's an amazing player individually and he's getting so much work done, when you watch Tyloo, you can see it in their play that he is sometimes not getting the right information.
Yeah. So what you're basically saying is then effectively is he'll say something in English, the guys on the team who then understand the most in English try to translate across into the...
Yeah.
And you actually end up with real-life Chinese whispers in the sense that that is actually what's happening.
Yeah.
And, you know, that they try and pass it along. And, yeah, that can lead... I mean, that's why when we see a lot of these players come through from Tyloo and everyone says, oh, they play with such a weird style. That's a phrase I don't really like. I don't think it, you know, really... like they do, but it's quite like a generic thing to say, right? It doesn't really have a lot of substance behind it. But I feel like a lot of the fact that, you know, we do see them go for these weird plays could be down to exactly what you're saying, right?
Yeah, the classic...
Maybe that's not intentional, as I think a lot of the time maybe it isn't, because you kind of sit there and you're like, why would they ever make this decision?
See, the classic joke is, the reason Tyloo has so much success in taking maps off EU teams is that how can you predict what they're going to do if they don't know what they're going to do? That's the thing, because it is obviously plaguing them.
Bintet definitely doesn't know what they're going to do.
Exactly, right?
I'll go here, guys. Good luck.
Yeah.
Have fun.
Yeah.
But
I think the addition of Peacemaker as well is something that will hopefully kind of, you know, improve their English to some extent, because obviously that's what he's communicating in. Unless they suddenly speak Portuguese. I don't really know why they would, but but
This would be such an amazing team,
you
right?
know, we've got some
So
incredible
it's like
talent.
we have one guy who speaks Portuguese, one who speaks English, and then together they have to translate mid-game and just pass it round.
See,
That would be fantastic.
Doing this in such a high-pressure game and so fast-paced, it's so difficult to communicate, even in your native language, and trying to get all the points across and saying it, especially for the caller, trying to get across what you want to do. It's really hard. And obviously, we've got a bit of a mixed calling style right now. For the team, Captain Mo is calling, but Bintet is actually helping out. Now, that's good, obviously, he's helping out, but it's also bad because, again, we go back to these communication issues. So if the one man that is having the most communication issues is trying to help out on calling, it can create some confusing situations, but hopefully they can get over that. Again, individually we see, you know, just insane skill on some of these players, so that's always nice to see. Hopefully they can use that insane skill to make the scoreline closer, maybe even take the win. But again, I'm still sitting on the side of G2 for this one.
Yeah, and that's something I was going to say. Right, we've seen that. You know, we've seen the odds from Betway. We've seen that G2 are the more favoured team in this. You know, with bettors and between you and I alike. I feel like that's going to be kind of the general consensus. But you can't count out Tyloo, right? If anything, it's quite a good game to bet on if you are going to go in and be like, because they are definitely a team that could.
They've done it before,
right?
time and time again. They've done it, so there's no reason to not at least consider it as a possible option.
Yeah, but at the same time, I feel like G2, they're a team that now are starting to do really well, right? We've seen them do some fantastic stuff. But because they've had this shaky start, I feel like they're one of the teams who are going to make sure that they don't fall prey to, the kind of one-hit wonder that is Tyloo, where they can take that map off of someone. As we saw with SK versus Space, so I can't imagine SK headed into that necessarily preparing as much as they usually would, right? That's something that people usually say about SK, is that they are a team that don't necessarily underestimate or, like disrespect their opponents. It's just the fact that they are, arguably the best team in the world. So in their minds, they should be able to beat Space Soldiers hands down. Yeah. And, I don't feel like G2 are going to fall prey in the same manner, if I'm honest with you.
And that's one thing that people say about G2. They look at this roster, I think it's been said by multiple top pros in interviews, that they look at this G2 roster and they say, this is, on paper, the best roster in the world, the best combination of players and mix of talent that you can have with, obviously, within regions and language barriers, etc. So looking at that, while G2 have, in theory, one of the best rosters of all time, at least at the moment, they haven't been able to utilize it in the same sense that other teams have. Obviously, they're still fairly new. I don't think we can really argue that they're new anymore, but they haven't played as many events, at least as some of the phases, Astralis, SK, for example, as this roster. So I think they need more time. So this is a chance for Tyloo to exploit, but again, it's not going to be an easy road. We're into the pistol, map 1 of 1. It's Cash, Tyloo on the T side, bit of utility, G2 with a full armor buy.
Already. For Tyloo, they've gone and set 4 players over here towards B, leaving somebody over in mid. Not sure who. Actually, the CH said Luke back round to join him, but look at this aggression from MBK. He's got so much information on the back of this. He's cleared out all of this initial push out towards A, and that's allowed this rotate to come in from G2. They've got everyone inside the B-bomb site, and Tyloo in danger of walking into the waiting maws of the French beast that is lurking inside this B-bomb site. They're going to go charging on in. Apex in the corner, but find it first. Is going to fall prey to somebody on the entry. Gets himself 2. Shoxy within the site, the man to go down now. It's all on Kenny, tapping away with the USP. Gets himself 3. And it all falls onto somebody. 1v1, bomb dropped out in the open. Kenny has full control of it. Somebody just waiting over in CT. Oh, no. Kenny about to walk into this. Kenny shot in the back, goes for the flick for somebody in with the triple. Clutches that one out to win Tyloo the pistol.
That could have been scary there. You could see he was almost about to whiff the shot, but what a great round from somebody. A 3K to pick it up, and Tyloo starting off on good footing. It's going to be G2 to try and force things up, or maybe just go for the standard eco that we have been seeing. Yeah, it's actually going to be that. Oh, it's a bit of a mix buy. We got a bit of everything here. Body saving. We've got no. Okay, screw it. Just fully invest. Kenny saving a little bit for the AWP. BK saving a bit of cash as well. Rest of them buying up almost fully here as Tyloo got themselves a lot of rifles to play with. Not playing this one at all dangerously, and instead choosing to go for the safer route. HZ deep into mid, trying to look for the entry. It's going to be Shoxy towards Sandbags here, waiting for the timing to peek. He spots him, doesn't go for the shot. He's just playing off information here. Finally will strike, and he takes the kill. G2, the man advantage.
Yeah, the only issue is Shoxy is very much trapped in this position here by Sandbags. Team going to be rotating in to try and help out MBK. The man poised with the deke, spotted out in mid. Multiple players for G2. Hasn't been able to get him burn out. Apex does put us back to a 4-4, going for a little bit more out in mid, doing the damage downrange with the AK. He doesn't land anything just yet. They're going to go ahead and rotate in towards the B-bomb site. 3 players here, leaving 1 on the flank. That is going to be Captain Mo. Body. The 5-7, wreaking some havoc. Not going to go down just yet. Finally finished off by Bintan. Shoxy falls as well.
Damage has been done though. MBK not going to be able to get anything, so it's Kenny S falling from the heavens as MBK rotates back in through. Captain's so tagged up as well. This is a great opportunity for MBK to be able to get himself a quick kill. If he can drop Captain Mo and then move towards the site, it's a doable situation, but the bomb's planted, and Bunta has enough health to work with. The rifles outranging the Deagle here as MBK sits in the heavens, spots him. The damage will come through and he will fall down. As expected, Tyloo will be closing out that second round, but it gets a little bit too close for comfort. Good work done by G2, but it is still going to be a single eco coming in before they fully commit, and this is where Tyloo have to make the decision. Do we want to go for nadeless AKs, or do we want to do this? And this is what I like to see. They're bringing a UMP, a MAC-10 to farm up cash, and a Tech 9, so they don't have to reinvest in a rifle that they may lose.
And Hugo, I'm going to be honest with you, I confess to you, I haven't seen the most of Tyloo playing. You know, I've been doing stuff a lot of times whenever the games have been on. But right now, I mean, the one player I have heard a lot about and have seen a lot from is Bunta, and he's living up to that on this flank. It's going to be all a G2 running into the waiting arms of Didi with that UMP. They're going to be mopping up some more, and they're just making money right now. It's all going to be on Shoxy. He does manage to get one. Somebody coming in from behind his life expectancy about half a second as he desperately tries to stay alive. 1 HP at a dream, and he will be finished off. Tyloo in with that third. They convert all 3. Make some decent money in that round as well. And now G2 can come in with the buy. Going to be able to get the AWP as well. Up on Keddy. Actually go for the double AWP.
Yeah, we did see MBK eco that second round. He only bought himself a Deagle, so I was expecting something to come in. I just thought he was going for more utility, but no, the AWP comes in. Stack of nades as well, crossing across most of these players on the CT side, and Kenny and Shox both picking those up. This is a team that love to utilize that double AWP play. We have Shoxy pushed up over in B main, looking for a bit of a pick. Tyloo are about to walk in, but they smoke it off. They know the potential. Molly comes in as well to deny any presence to peek out through this checkers area, and Shoxy, shaking in anger, isn't going to be able to get himself a first pick. Instead, in the meantime, he's snuck into the site, and while Shoxy will strike, he's going to be wrapped from the back. Except is there. Spots tries to convert the spray, but body trades, and we're back into a 4-on-3 for G2 in the favour.
Bomb over in mid. Going to be joining up with Didi. On his lonesome, somebody up in over here towards A, just waiting at Squeaky to see if any aggression does come out, and it hasn't. Just letting this timer tick on down, waiting to see if they can find any sort of advantage, if G2 will happily hand one over. And it looks like G2 going to make the decision now to rotate Apex off of B into middle. This is the right call to make. He's now only a little bit away from rotating in. MBK in A main. Here's those flashes coming on through. You can see that Apex is going to be the first man on the scene. MBK just waiting over here at forklift, and now as the push comes in, Kenny able to find the first and the second. He's going in for a little bit more, wants to try and make it 3, but Bintet does find some damage, able to pick up the first. MPK goes down. He's still alive and kicking within the site, playing it around the smoke, playing it perfectly. Apex now hits the deck. There's only 20 seconds left. And Kenny had to run away. It will be the 1-on-2 with both these players tagged down extremely low. Bomb plant going to come on in. Bintet in the 1v2 first, has to try and deal with the player over at Truck. It is going to be Body, doesn't want to peek on out as he's just locking down the angle, takes the peek, and Body will punish him for it. Tries to cross back into A main and will be shut down. And that is going to be G2 with their first round.
See, G2 know exactly what they're playing against, right? Tyloo are a team that love to overpeak and love to take engagements, much as how kind of Space Soldiers did over the previous matchup on this map. These are teams that ruin other teams of their level in their region, Space Soldiers and Tyloo respectively, so they love taking gunfights. Obviously, there was a situation where we needed to see Bunta get himself a pick to try and turn it into a 1-on-1, but G2 knew exactly what was up, and combined with the double AWP just scoped up, holding angles and waiting for him to make that fight, because they knew he would. They knew he'd try and bring it back. So good control from G2, good patience there in the post plant, and now we will see finally a round win coming in for them, and all 2 saved and none brought up for the side of Tyloo as rifles coming across the board. Aside from somebody, Vent control going to be held from body. A bit of a heavy B setup, it seems. There's two players are there, but one on the fast rotation as Apex is stuck over towards the sandbags. We have Tyloo also contending that into middle as they go for a fast push. First comes out from Mo, dropping Apex as a Molotov forces him into the open, but body trades and gets burnt out of his position respectively. Has to fall back to Tyloo, looking to split A.
Yeah, here's Kenny though, he can make all the difference. Actually gets caught out on scope, goes for the no-scope, does find damage, but it's gonna fall. Bomb plant now going to come in for Tyloo as body and Shoxy. In the 2-on-4, Shox on the flank. That's the first attempt with somebody who misses that shot. He's going to go down. Into the 2-on-3 we go, and now things get a little bit more interesting. Shoxy on this flank in 3 main can do so much damage right now. Everyone stacked up within the site. The Molotov going to burn out this boost as both the players tag down low, but Shox can't capitalize. Instead, his body to step up and Captain Mo trade things out, and that is going to be Tyloo in with a 4.
This is what we're talking about, Harry. This is what we said. There's always that potential for upset for Tyloo. And it's happening. We're early days, but still 4-1 in. G2 getting hard reset after their first buy when they just had pistols coming into this round. Tyloo with plenty of money to buy up as well, and stuff to fall back on if needed. Not a huge amount of cash, but it's enough to get the job done. As G2, they can't even invest a penny. They've just got full default pistols here, no utility. This is the kind of round where I like to see a flashbang brought up, a bit of an aggressive style push up on the CT side, but it's not going to come on through. It's Tyloo, take that control, Vincent opening up, and BK gets dropped to Tyloo. They can just burst into the B side. This is a communication issue we talked about. We just saw a team flash into the checkers when Vincent has already taken control. This is hopefully not going to come back to haunt Tyloo, but it doesn't seem to be doing so in this round. A clean sweep is on the cards. Only one player left on the site, but they haven't spotted him. No, doesn't matter. G2, either way, still able to reinvest. Utility is going to be held back a little bit. We don't have a kit coming in as well. MBK has cash for it. Hopefully he'll be able to buy it up because he doesn't seem to have gone for it just yet. No, focusing on the nades there. That seemed like he almost asked his team to come in with a bit of an idea because he didn't buy up any kit. The CT side. Oh, that just seems weird here. Tyloo have been pretty effective at getting onto these sites so far, so to see no kit for the CT side is a bit of an issue, but that's even worse. Body running into main, flashed out and HZ opening up.
Man advantage gathered early on here for Tyloo. They've slowed right down though since picking that one up, and as they do so, now going to look to push up Shoxy in towards A main. Spots that no one's here. Actually, they're going to be boosting a player up in mid. Tyloo changing their sights with the wind in their sails. Now look to try and seize control of mid. 2 players boosted up. Kenny rotating on in. He could be the player to put a stop to this madness, but no, smoked off, has to fall back, and that's mid control. Now handed over to Tyloo. Apex is still here, going to make things a bit tricky. Doesn't let them have mid for free. So he does get that trade better late than never onto HZ, and now Tyloo looking to try and change their mind. Back out towards A. Shox is pushed up here. We're going to fall to Mo on the AK. And as they drop him out, looks like they're just going to try and go fast out towards A, which is the right call to make. No one within the site. Apex rotating up highway. He could be the difference maker. Has to try and find this first. But Mo, even though he's tagged low, just tapping on heads for days. Gets himself a second. Bomb plant going to be coming on in, and now it'll force into MBK and Kenny.
And somebody not even taking the fight, going to fall back as well, not granting a pick here to G2, because if they got one, it would allow them into the site far quicker. Being said though, MBK not going to get a thing, and Kenny being 3 points of health, they're going to have to fall back. It will be the round going to Tyloo once again, Harry. 6-1? At what point do we consider this out of control? What point do we say that G2 are starting to let it slip?
Kenny trying to hold on to the AWP. Oh, there you go, down goes somebody. Still got the AWP in hand. He's looking fantastic. I know where it is, but they're too far away. I don't want to risk throwing any more weapons the way of Kenny S. AK picked up for MBK. Tyloo, though, in with another round on the board. They're on 6 right now, and G2 once again with no money in those bank accounts. Leaves them in a bit of an awkward situation. Pause called in. And this is where things get a little bit tricky if you are G2. Currently, they reside 5 rounds behind. And they are going to be taking that tack pause.
I think at this point they are having issues with economy, right? Because Tyloo just seems to be shutting them down on every single buy. It's not even resets coming in. It's just straight up dominance. This is similar to how we saw Space Soldiers compete against SK. But again, you can't get too ahead of yourself, right? Because Tyloo may have this great T side. They may end up 12-3 like Space Soldiers. But we look at that previous map, and as soon as G2 switch over to their T side, if they get enough rounds to fall back on it, we could realistically see something strong for G2. We could see Tyloo have that issue with CT communication that we do see. Because while we talk about that T side prominence, especially the ability to be able to win these aim battles, you know, look at Bintet and Mode to be able to do this. When you switch over to that CT side, it's obviously a lot about aim battles, but a lot about communication as well, about working out what you want to do as a team. So moving over to that side and trying to, you know, adjust rotations and retaking and trying to communicate with flashbangs, etc., it's very, very hard to get the job done here for the side of Tyloo when they move over to CT.
That is very true, but right now the ball is in G2's court to try and keep themselves in this. Of course, they are going to face issues on that CT side when you look over at Tyloo, but G2, that's all well and good, but first they have to get CT side rounds of their own. It's going to be the case that they've got the two Catalyst rifles, the AWP up on Kenny, MBK in with the AK, and it looks like Tyloo are thinking about hitting this A-bomb site. They've got two players over in Squeaky, two waiting outside of A with the player boosted up mid. They're going to flash on through. They spot the player out in the corner. It takes dead, but Body's got walking straight past Mo. He's able to get himself one, but Shoxy trades it back. Players coming on in to try and keep this in the advantage of Tyloo. Fully blind, DD trying to find them, and they just walk into his bullets. Apex deciding life is too much to bear, goes down in the crossfire. MBK with his rifle peeks on out in mid and drops somebody. And now it's Kenny and MBK. 2v2. Double D and Bintet still alive and kicking. They've got themselves the bomb. They've got 40 seconds left to play with. Only one Molotov, which is less utility than G2. They've got themselves a smoke and two flashes. But the tricky part is there's that player still stuck over in Squeaky.
See, that's the thing. They have no utility to make a fake play, and with no time as well, they've got to just both commit towards a site. It will be A. G2 going to decide to split up, and Kenny doing the perfect play. I was about to say this. I hope he goes in for the retake, because if they're moving one player towards B, Kenny can't afford to go down in the site without a pick. Now he's in a position where he can even drop the bomb realistically if he hits a shot, and he won't. Just missing the tip of Bintet as he makes his way towards a site. The plant is going to come through, and Kenny can't stop it. That's so unfortunate, but at least they can 2-on-2 retake. MBK and Kenny S coming back in, pushing in from separate positions, and still the AWP is going to be a difficult one, but if you want any AWP on your team, it's going to be Kenny here, pushing in towards quad. Tyloo not peeking, and that's a safe way to play. There's no reason to play over-aggressive as a T-side. The flash will come through, MBK takes one, but DD will trade, and now it's all on Kenny. Running towards the site, but DD overfacing it, somehow works out, and he will take the kill and the round, but what a risky move from DD.
Yeah, the saviour of that round gets himself a 4K and keeps Tyloo in this. Look at this, right? There's a man, can't even see, but he still makes it work. He's fully flashed at this point, and he's still cutting down G2 like it's nothing. And this is one of the top 5 teams in the world. It is going to be Tyloo in with his 7th.
Okay.
Kenny, hello?
Couple of PC issues, I can imagine. Hopefully, if anything's going to happen...
No, he's not good. Okay. He's fine. He's just going along.
Having a drink.
And looks like they're boosting a player up in mid, trying to spot this out. HZ is the man up in A main. Been allowed to get 2 players out in middle though, and with the double up set up, this lax mid control is very interesting. Apex going to go down. The man advantage grabbed for Tyloo. Shoxy and MBK able to go ahead and take 2 in return. In the B bomb site, he's going to be tagged, but he's still fighting for his life. Shox finally goes down as Bintet gets himself 2 in return, and suddenly we're into a 1-on-2. He's got a minute left to play with, so much time, and now he's going to fall back.
They think he's committing to B. They don't know yet that he's actually rotating all the way around through T-spawn. He's done this so fast that MBK is still in position. Now they're going to start to realize this is a possibility. MBK sits in middle, and they're just going to play the B site. Typically, if you're the CTs in this situation, you commit to the site you're on because you don't want to get caught out rotating if Bintet has pushed through. He'll go for the bomb plant safely, and then we'll see 2v1 as they push towards the site. He makes his way there. He knows it's clear. Open plant will come through. This is good because he can hold this from pretty much anywhere on the site. Goes and opens a squeaky door, but he won't commit to pushing in through it as he goes back towards main. I like this position. This is a bit of an off angle, but G2 still have 2 players.
Now he's just going to be holding it. Bintat playing it very, very cautiously. Playing up on the boost. Opened up Squeaky to try and build the illusion that that's where he is. And now, both players on the site running that clock down low. Bintat in with the peak. Both players on the site. Defuse going to be coming on in, baited around the corner, and Kenny finishes him off. Defuse to come in for G2, and there's just enough time left for them to get it.
But why is my question? Why did he go for that initial peek? He had the site, they weren't tapping the bomb, they weren't committing to it. He could have just sat there and waited, and then suddenly he goes for the peek and they win it by a millisecond. Bintat could have won that round so easily. It's just it's the over-aggression that we see on Tyloo. Time and time again, they take fights they just really don't need to take, and this is going to come back to haunt them eventually. G2 get themselves another round on the board that was a clutchable situation for Bintat, but at least he got it close. At least he took money off of the side of G2, because that's what's important. They're not going to be able to build up a bank to play with on the CT side. And Tyloo, they're only going to need a couple of rounds, or just this round in and of itself, to get that hard reset and to crush the French economy. This is something Tyloo have been very, very good at doing so far. You know, keeping a stranglehold of the CT cash. Can they do it before it comes back to bite them themselves?
Over in mid, Apex peeking on out. Right now, Tyloo just taking this round very, very slowly, not wanting to fall prey to any early aggression coming in from G2, waiting to see if it does come out so they can find that man advantage. Apex still playing solo over in mid, something which Tyloo have made a prominent part of their T-side setup. Flashing on out. You can already see that Apex has been relegated on back, and now the push comes out in mid. Two players to try and grab control of this while they rotate that bomb over to B. Somebody going to open up Squeaky, gets their attention fixated on it, and in through the smoke. Captain Mo goes down. Apex dancing around the smoke, still alive and kicking, able to get himself one. No trade frag in sight. The bomb. As well as one other support player over here towards B. Shoxy takes the peek down. He goes as Bintat opens things up, charging in towards this site. They go pushing on through, but Apex is already here to try and snuff this one out. It all falls onto Bintat, who somehow wanted to get himself three, trying to get more work done, but Apex, raining from above like an angel sent from heaven, picks that round up for G2.
Another pause coming out, and I can only imagine this is Tyloo here, and this is actually nice to see. This is a team that's never really been too heavy on their pauses. They've never really called them out, and after only losing 2 in a row, they actually just go for it. They're like, no, we don't want G2 to start gaining momentum. Let's just take a second to take a break. And I can imagine this is obviously due to the addition of Peacemaker, right? Because he will be standing behind them at this event. He will be helping them out, coaching how he can, and obviously, you know, while you can say what you want about Peacemaker, I guess he's been doing the opposite of peacemaking in NA. Maybe he'll be able to work out with Tyloo here. Maybe he'll be able to instill some confidence into these guys and not let them receive a bit of a comeback from the side of G2. They've got their T side in the bag. They've done what they need to do. At this point, anything they just get on top of that is just gravy.
And who doesn't love a bit of gravy? I get, what hand is it, the morning or the afternoon? I don't actually have the time. Whatever time of day it is, gravy's always good. Gravy on everything.
Look at Bintat right now, 17 and 5.
He's actually phenomenal. But living up to our expectations, G2 got themselves the MP9 on Body. He's clearly feeling a little bit frisky. Body and Apex taking the aggression in B, and no one from Tyloo ready for this. They could catch these players off in mid completely unaware. Luckily enough, they missed those shots onto DD. Does now force him back into the waiting arms of Body. Think he heard him hop up there. So they have an idea that someone's working around from behind it. DD just holds the angle. Body, Ninja, trying to play this one smart. Does find the first out on a DD. That's $600 made with fantastic SMG. And now, I mean, when you look at it, Tyloo aren't in a great spot. They've got players worked into the backline. Ideally, they could try and capitalize on the fact that Body's pushed so aggressive and use this to, find themselves in a 4-on-4. But they're just going to completely leave him. And this has allowed Apex now to push on up as well. They've got 2 players waiting in the backline, which leaves them just sandwiched in between this A-bomb site, between layers of G2 players. And they're going to go charging on out. Shox holding this from Quad. Actually going to fall at the first hurdle. It's Kenny to have to try and step up and turn this one back around. Body on the flank. Somebody going to be going for the bomb plant, and he will manage to get it. Still alive within the site in the 1v4. Finished off by Kenny. But they get themselves the bomb plant, and that was their mission there.
Yeah, I mean, they invested more than 800, so they're probably hoping for a little bit more, maybe in terms of getting a couple of kills, taking money away, maybe even saving a gun. But at the end of the day, you know, considering the situation they were put into, that kill into shocks towards the back of court is very important because, as you say, it allows them to get that bomb plant, allows them to get themselves back into, you know, a buy in this one. And now they will have the option for the AWP, but don't choose to go with it. 4 rifles come out here for the Tyloo side. G2 still remaining strong with that double AWP. 3 in a row for the CT side now, looking to try and bring things back into contention. As Tyloo themselves, they're letting things slip, but again, now we see it by first time in 2 rounds, hoping that they'll be able to get a little bit more done here.
Going to be seeing aggression from Kenny. Somebody is actually waiting for this. And Kenny, this is a little bit much. He will go down. Man advantage grab now for Tyloo. Just handed to them on a silver platter there from Kenny as somebody's passive positioning at Squeaky does pay off. And now for Tyloo, they've got themselves the man advantage. This is very much their round to lose. As we can see, it's somewhat changed the direction of what it was they were doing. They're going to leave that default with players holding every major avenue, and it looks like instead they're going to be sending players over towards A and boosting someone up in mid. Shocks answering with aggression over at B.
Oh, great shot from DD. That's the second ult removed. And now G2, who are already playing a retake setup on A, are going to have to pull MBK back even further. He moves back towards Car. The smoke's raining deep. Tyloo know exactly what setup G2 are going for, and those picks facilitated that, but they don't expect MBK on top. 2 for him as he jumps on top of the electric box, looking for a third, but somebody enters the site with a quick kill. It's a 3-on-2. Tyloo have made this one far more doable, and now control of the site is going to be taken. Buntet will cross with the bomb, making his way to the site, and DD even catching rotations. They check their angles, but they don't expect him to be here, and now he'll be handling him from behind. They have no idea that he's going to sneak up behind them and wreck face as he moves on in. There's the first spraying away, but he doesn't connect. Only damage. The trade comes through as Body finds a kill, but this leaves just Apex on the site. First one trying to spray, but somebody picks up both, and that's 4 in the round for somebody. He has been going off.
I mean, you know, these 2 players just really stepping up right now, and somebody delivering the performance we would expect, you know, from the real body over on G2. What is it with us getting the games where players have...
Eco, body somebody.
I mean, you know, yeah, that one's perhaps a little bit more out there, but still. It's going to be the case that this time for Tyloo, bit of a change in pace as they send 4 players over towards A, just straight out through mid. It's DD, and he's been allowed to work his way up towards Vents. MBK does spot him out. He's able to connect that shot, but now comes out the flank from Squeaky. MBK able to get a little bit more work done. Still alive, causing some serious problems over towards Highway. Oh, Bintek caught in midair. It's going to hit the deck, leaving this all on somebody. 1v4. Has himself the bomb, peeks on out. And he's looking to try and leave a legacy here in the 1v4. Able to find the first, turns it into the 1v3, but now he's been tagged down to a measly 10 HP. MBK turns him into somebody that I used to know.
I mean, I was about to make a song joke. I was kind of expecting that. Somebody did tell me the world was going to roll me, so...
You had to take it.
It's even worse.
Mind fit. Well, anyway, welcome to the B stream. Tyloo.
This is why we're not in Cologne, Harry. This is why we're not in Cologne.
Yeah.
Not our apparent lack of skill.
G2, well, they've gone and got themselves 5 rounds. Looking to try and get a couple more. Aggression in towards A main will be spotted out, and actually, this is fairly good for Tyloo. They've got players over in Squeaky now, can try pincer out from behind. If they can meet these 2 players, oh, not with Kenny here. The man to put a stop to everything, crush his dreams under his heel. He manages to get himself 2 with some support from MBK. They mop that round up, and now G2 in with a 6. Let's not forget, this was a 1-7 scoreline at a point, so G2 have done a fantastic job of pulling this one back.
Yeah, that's what I said. Tyloo can't get too comfortable here. After that pause, it looked like maybe they could have brought things back. They picked up a round, but that was it. And they fell apart. Tyloo starting to lose, but at least they've got the half. At least they've got the favour as they pick up 8. but looking to make it a 9th on the half as they force buy things up. A couple of UMPs, a couple of Galils, and AK as well. Utility isn't too bad. At least they focused on getting that. That's something that some teams, don't focus on, that especially on the T side. They just go for rifles and try and get entries. But Tyloo looking to go for a bit of a set execute down towards B. Smokes and Molotovs are going to be lined up here from the T side. With only 2 defenders, one of them playing very close. This could be great for Shoxy. He could get complete spray down. He's playing anti-flash, but it still get blinded as he pushes on in through the smoke. The kill comes out from Body. Shox will finally strike, but he has no need to because Body has got himself 4 running on in. It's Shoxy to close out, and we're focusing on the wrong person, ladies and gentlemen. Body is going off. G2, 7 rounds in. They don't even lose a player for that half, and Tyloo will make it 8.
For that half, for that round? Just to me, yeah, no, it's fine.
They did lose some players.
And I shouldn't have pointed that out, but yeah, it did throw me a little bit. But speaking of throwing a little bit, we're going to go ahead and throw this one over to a very quick break, around about 2 minutes, and then we'll be back in with the second half. An 8-7 first half does not get closer than that. Fantastic stuff thus far, and it only looks to get better as we prepare to head into the second half. Hugo, what have been your thoughts, feelings, emotions thus far?
Bintet and somebody making me emotional, as always, as they always do. Very, very good players, but again, we haven't closed out the map. I'll be interested to see how the Betway odds are swayed now after this, dominant scoreline for Tyloo, in the sense that they're coming into this one as massive underdogs. Either way, 8 rounds on the half, going into their CT side, and very heavy mid presence. I like this from Tyloo, throwing in something new. They go for the boost on top of the box and they move towards the vent. This is good because they're also playing for retake on A, and if a B play comes in, they're going to have really quick rotations through vents. So G2, not going to expect this, but at the moment, the setup at the T side, it's not like looking like it will hurt them either.
G2 rotating these guys back. Looks like they were going to go out through mid, but now they've changed their mind. Instead, focusing on what looks to be the A-bomb site. All 5 players making their way towards A main and Squeaky. Kenny and Squeaky on his lonesome. The rest of the guys out through A main. They're going to throw off this smoke. It's going to block out Mo, so he can't get anything done. I'm going to find something in through the smoke. Actually spots the first. The smoke hasn't rained in just yet, and it actually misses its mark. So allowed him to land some shots, but he didn't find any damage just yet. Bomb plant going to come on through as Tyloo now have to retake this in a 5v5. There's still Shoxy in the back line. Players setting up with the afterplants. They've had plenty of time to get into them. Now it's just, can Tyloo retake this site?
Push on in. First player going to be spotted. Body spamming away, and he will connect with the headshot on the DD as Kenny strikes as well. It's MBK to pick up one, but still the Chinese reign supreme. They will pick up 3 for 2 as BinTech goes big. HZ drop towards the site, and Kenny doing damage on the back of quad as well. It'll be G2 to pick it up on the post plant, and 8 rounds going to be found here from the French side, bringing it back into even Stevens, Harry. Very, very close as per usual. But I love the mid setup for Tyloo, because typically, right, you see that the default, play for retake on A, and you just mean you have, a bit of pressure in mid, a bit of pressure in B, and then, one player sitting towards car. Instead of that, Tyloo just focus, all right, we're just going to stack mid. If anyone hits mid, we'll completely ruin them. If anyone goes B, we have fast rotations through the vents, and if anyone goes A, we just play the standard car retake. So it's a good from Tyloo to see, but it doesn't quite work out.
Yeah, and speaking of aggression, the G2 trade is here. They've actually slowed right down. Oh, they allow Mo to pick that one up with the Deeg. Some fancy hand cannon shots from him. Looking to try and get more work done. It's going to be on his lonesome once again inside the A-bomb site. Everyone from G2, they've just been held back. And Deeg roaring into action is enough to keep these guys at bay. And well, speaking of bay, where is BinTech? Right now he's waiting over in mid. Him and HZ can be up on the fast rotate. It's Mo within the site. The pop flash comes through to allow him to take that peek. He finds a bit of damage, gets the info, but close within the site is going to be Apex. Shoxy helps out. Apex darting around with the MP7, finding damage. BinTech able to go ahead and get himself one, switches out to the USP, and then will be dropped, leaving this all on DD in a 1v3. Deeg in hand. Hopefully that Mike can't even make the joke. MBK just completely annihilates him, and that terrible pun I was about to make, never going to see the light of day as a result.
Thank God. 9-8. Eco now for Tyloo. Can't really invest in too much. With a bit of cash on some of these CTs, you could be seeing a flashbang or a PT50, but really just play safe. Maybe a flashbang to go for a fast burst play on the CT side, but nothing going to come in other than a PT50 on Mo. Just an eco from Tyloo. As G2, they play it safe as well. Apex doesn't even invest. He just sticks to the P250. Kenny S, he goes from a Mac 10 himself, and now we'll see G2 just starting to walk on into B. Tyloo on the other side. Ready and waiting. It's somebody who's going to make first contact. Spots the first damage off. He's not going to connect enough shots. Apex getting tagged down though, and no kill in return. Finally, MBK will strike, and BinTech from the heavens picking off Kenny S. But again, it's a small consolation. Tyloo unlikely to be able to gain anything into this round, and Shoxy will make it so. Drops Captain Mo. And while a couple of players are low on G2, they shouldn't be overextending. Just leave the job to MBK and Body, and they should be able to close out the round.
Yeah, they're going to boost MBK up. BinTech just waiting in the corner. We saw, actually in that first pistol round, he stayed in this exact same place, but he was able to finish off Kenny. And now him and HZ, they have this crossfire set up. If G2 do come a-knocking, then there are 2 players here to try and shut them down, do some damage, but it will ultimately be a 10th either way for the Frenchman. A 2-round lead now over Tyloo. Fire to come in the next round, however, will be their chance to start to put some rounds up on their CT side. The one issue I'm seeing, something that we've said is an issue for Tyloo, is that they're very reliant on BinTech, and also, in this game to an extent, somebody. And it's a lot harder to have those kind of solo carry players on your CT side.
Exactly right, because if you have it on the T side, just set him up towards the site, let him run in, do his damage, switch him over to CT. G2 can just avoid him. They know where BinTech is playing, they can just hit another area of the map, and that's a safer way to do it. Force BinTech into clutch situations, which he shouldn't be winning the majority of the time, and then G2 will be able to close up the map. It's very likely that we may see that going into the second half. Shoxy, though, over in main, bit of a fast play. Smoke will come down, that will hold him off for getting any kind of pick for the side of G2. Instead, these Cs now have to hold their default with no aggression coming in. They do take a bit of B main control, but again, there is going to be a bit of a fight back from Tyloo as they have 2 players over towards the checkers area. Apex looking to walk on in with the AK. This could be dangerous here. He does get caught out though. DD over event strikes finally, and Shoxy will return fire onto Captain Mo, but it's not going to be enough because it's traded again. Back and forth we go into a 3-on-3 as the kills flurry across mid, but DD pushes in through the smoke of vents and takes down Body, pulling it back for Tyloo.
DD in mid could be the difference maker. Gets himself one. Kenny misses that key shot, and then it's going to fall as a result. The double up set up in play and a 4K for DD. In that one, Tyloo looking to try and prove us wrong about their CT side performances as they do go ahead and win that round out. Now, in the long run, might not have led to much economic damage in the grand scheme of things, as G2 can afford to buy up once again, but this will be their last buy if they lose this one. They will have to eco in the next.
I think it's a great way for Tyloo to get themselves back into this map, because if they take this, it'll be 10-10, and G2 will be eco for a single round. So 11-10 likely on the board if Tyloo can just crush this once more. On the flip side, G2 pick it up, suddenly it's a reset. Suddenly Tyloo have no cash to play with, and this double-up investment is going to go astray. It's a very tense moment for both these teams, a pinnacle one, in fact, for this half, and deciding how the remainder of this is going to go.
Pushing out through mid. They boosted a player up, it's Kenny. Bintet waiting. Push about to come out into middle. Kenny spotted and eliminated by Bintet. He's looking to try and get more work done. The flashes rain in. Bodies nearby to try and trade this one back, but for the time being, he's held in the corner. The Molotov can force him out of the open, but he does manage to get the trade. DD collapses down onto him. And that will be the man advantage return now in favor of Tyloo. In response, G2 send the remaining players out towards A.
Yeah, and the smoke take comes in through. Tyloo just setting up for the retake here. Not looking to contend with this one, but Captain Mo in through the smoke does drop MBK down towards the forklift. There's a trade coming through onto H-Jet, but a 3-on-2 still going to favour Tyloo here. As we see these T's get into that post plant. So Molotov and an HE remains for the side of G2, and still the double up intact for Tyloo, which may make things a little more difficult. Shoxy may be able to peek out onto Mo. If he goes for the timing shot here, Mo will be dead. Instead, they start to cross towards the site, and Apex will strike. There's the first. Mo gets dropped. Shoxy as well following up, and Apex will close out. Tyloo don't even get a kill on the retake, and G2, they're going to pick up the round, and this is why I talked about it. G2 picked that up. Tyloo's money is crushed. A pause is needed, and a pause will be made. How much can you do if you're Peacemaker right now?
Yeah, they are going to be struggling just a little bit. I mean, right now, right, they don't really have the money to invest. At the same time, you've got two players that are on the double eco anyway, right? So your options are you either kind of force buy down on the players which can afford it, or no, because I mean, you're double eco regardless, right? So yeah. I imagine we're going to see them force into this round. We might see Bintet keep a little bit more money so they can go for that alt buy if they'd like. Or we could see him pick up a Catalyst rifle, which I think would be interesting, right? He's kind of the one player that could easily make that work.
Yeah, I mean, we've been seeing the majority of these CT rounds fall off the back of individual performance. We saw that 4K round from DD and Vents. Stuff like that is what Tyloo depend upon a lot of the time, especially as we were saying at the half in the hands of Bintet and a little bit on somebody this match. So, yeah, that's very much potential. We could see that, but instead they're just going to safe eco it, not even forcing here. Now, this is interesting because it's a double eco regardless, so they can invest, but they'd rather a full buy coming into their next. And they've been pretty unsuccessful on these ecos, so it doesn't really surprise me too much to not see Tyloo invest here.
MBK holding the angle over at B. He's here on his lonesome. Tyloo could be walking out of his crosshair any second now. He's got body over towards Vents, along with Apex, who can come in to help out if he does start to get rushed by these CT players. Body looking curious as to what Vents has in store. Peeking on through, doesn't spot anyone in checkers immediately, but little does he know it. 4 players for Tyloo currently reside on the other side. Apex, in the meantime, making his way up towards A. Somebody up in the Vents could do this all day. Body shuts him down, goes for a second, trying to get more work done, finding a boatload of damage. And now I think the ruse is up. They know that there's more players within the B-bomb site. They're expecting a stack, especially when you consider how far Apex got up towards the A-bomb site. Now he's in the back line. It's risky having him here, but they shouldn't see this coming. Sneaking on up. Everyone unaware within B. And from this position, right, even if they both the players up in Vents, he's still going to do damage onto that player who tries to rotate on off. Body's waiting in mid. This is perfect from G2. Oh, saying that. G2 ain't able to get one. DD does find the first. Apex now collapses on him from behind, and Shoxy trades that out. G2 in with the 12th.
Such a weird round for Tyloo, though, because they go for that stack and instantly G2 figure it out, right? We see Apex make his way up through A, they rotate the bomb, they get a couple of kills over in Vents, and then the Tyloo players just play stagnant. They don't decide to rotate, they don't decide to make any kind of move, they just sit in B and wait for G2 to push them, but you know that's never going to happen. G2 aren't going to be, you know, oh, let's bring the bomb to B, we've just killed 3 players on an eco. You know there's a stat going on there if you've got 3 kills on a site. So, weird to see Tyloo still commit towards that B site and not try and make any, you know, moves to try and move into middle, catch any CT or T's rumbling around the map. Instead they just sit on B and just get pounded. So now going into this, it's looking a lot more confident here for G2. And this is going to be a good way to start off. MBK, fully blind, takes down DD. Molotov going out for Kenny. He won't be able to rally off with that one as a counter smoke is placed by Tyloo. But still, G2 have got that first pick up, make it a second as well. And right now, Harry, this is just turning out to be a dominant map for G2 as we move into the second half.
Yeah, every single turn, it seems like Tyloo are getting ruined. In the blink of an eye this round, all falls onto Captain Mo, who 1v5 with a Famous by his side, trapped over in A main. Really struggling to keep his team in the game. Makes his way over towards Highway, just trying to stay alive in this scenario. Apex, round in the corner, 2 players here. I think the first one looks away a little too fast, and Apex will be able to trade that one out. In with a 13th, it's G2, keeping 4 players alive. They've got so much money built up on that T side. It's looking fairly grim right now if you're a Tyloo fan.
Every time you believe, man, every time you believe in the Tyloo win, this happens. It comes back to haunt you. They had a great start of a half, 7-1, ended 8-7, and now it's 13-9. Never believe in Tyloo. It's such a shame, man. Either way, it's not over yet. They've still got a bye coming up after this, but if they don't get any work done with that one, I think you've got to count them out at this point. Kenny shutting down Eco time after time. So he picks up the first kill onto Mo. It's going to be his Deagle retrieve there, but not exactly a saviour to the side of Tyloo. HZ will pick that up and move back towards the site. G2 still remaining stagnant. They're still waiting for Tyloo to bring something, because typically, if you're on that CT side and you lose that first pick, it's very common for you to push up and try and get another kill, you know, try and trade things back out. That's exactly what G2 are waiting for.
Somebody's just hugging this door. Shox. Oh, he just knows. Down goes somebody. You don't ever stand there when Shox is around. He will fall at the first hurdle. Now Binset over in mid has himself the Deagle, looking for the first. Apex walks into the crosshair, but comes up trumps in the duel, looking to try and get more work done within the site. It's HZ, although not for much longer, and now it's just DD on his lonesome in CT. Apex, just some casual aim training for him, tapping away on the heads, and that is now a 14th for G2. Pause called in. What did Tyloo do, Hugo? I'm looking at you with these blank eyes. That's a very hard question.
I've got blank eyes too. You can see it's clear that Peacemaker is trying to help this team though, because that's 3 pauses in one map. I don't think I've ever seen 3 pauses from Tyloo in their history, let alone one map. So clearly he's trying to help them out here. He's got a lot to say. But it's not helping, frankly. Obviously, it's not putting the blame onto him, but not much you can do when you're losing every single gunfight you get into. G2 are not letting up. Tyloo with a 3rd out of 4 pauses, a second and final one of the half as well. I don't think they really have enough rounds to even call out another pause. If G2 pick this one up, it will be 15-9 with an eco against them, 3,400 across the majority of these players. A little bit more in spare change, so very, very close to the closeout of this map. G2 still with a single AWP on Kenny S. We don't see one on the side of Tyloo though, and only 1 kit to play with. Well, Molotovs and smokes are prevalent, but it's the aim battles which they're losing out on, and that's a surprise because Tyloo are a team that love to fight these aim battles. Typically come out on top of them.
Shoxy once again over in Squeaky. HZ this time, the man looking to try and go toe-to-toe with G2 out towards A main. Re-smoked there by Captain Mo, who has his attention firmly fixated on Squeaky. Kenny S going to be holding the aggression in through A main, and right now G2 playing this round very, very passively, waiting to see if Tyloo try their hand at any early aggression. Well, tough to try and hold Kenny back, but it does miss its mark. He's allowed to just bide his time. Keep the angle locked down. That could have been very bad for Tyloo had they gone for any aggression on the back of that incendiary. And now as everyone for G2 makes their way up through A main, they also have Shox over in Squeaky, the push about to come in, and really only 1 player within the site. The rest can be locked out from utility. They're going to go charging on through. HZ from Highway spraying in through the smoke. They are just going to go ahead and retreat out the site as they play this for a 5v5 in the retake. Bomb plant comes in. Kenny's not looking healthy. Tagged down on 1 HP, still taking these duels. Has to go ahead and fall on back. And what are they going to do if you're Tyloo? Trying to make their way up from truck.
That angle Oh, it's going to strike eventually, but Kenny doesn't re-peek in for it. It's actually Apex that get flashed through the smoke. Huge performance from him as he takes down Mo, but a trade from Vintet. HZ will fall in the meantime, and currently this is what's happening. G2 are not missing out on a battle. Body and MBK to close out as well. And despite the early start from Tyloo and getting back with a couple of kills, it will not go their way. Once again, G2 closed it out 15-9, and as we said, there's the money busted.
Yeah, this is all or nothing now for Tyloo. They've invested everything they can. What it's got them is a couple of Famises, some nades scraped and cobbled together. And the Deagle for Captain Mo. Already 2 players over in mid for Tyloo to try and hold back the coming tide of G2. But this time haven't turned any attention out towards middle. Hasn't really been a point that G2 are focused on in these latter couple of rounds. Once again, taking it very slowly. Waiting to see if any aggression does come out from Tyloo, which for the time being it hasn't. HZ boosted up over here on A is a bit of a change. Could lead to them finding something. You can already see Kenny's a little bit suspicious. He's watching the angle.
Boost over. Mid control attempted to be taken here. We don't have a lot of fight back from Tyloo other than the Vector control, really. Maldini's been doing good work there. He's going to need to step up massively now. A smoke comes in. They're holding it. He's pushed through this before. They are expecting it once again as Apex makes sure that doesn't happen. No monkey business here, but he will decide to go up close to it. Sitting on the edge of the smoke. They need to check this corner, and Body will. They're expecting it. It's rinse and repeat from Tyloo, and G2 know exactly how the game is played. Body and Apex open things up as they run on into the B site. Somebody smoking that molly, trying to move back towards a more passive position as G2 starts around the corner. The aggression is perfect, and MBK is not missing. He takes down somebody. Vintet falling as well as he's overrun, and HZ is going to be the last man standing. This round and game, Harry, is over.
Yeah, HZ in the 1v5. The hopes and dreams of Tyloo resting solely on his shoulders. The flank coming on in, and he's completely unaware. Just cut down by Apex there to finish things off. G2, 16-9 in their favor. Fantastic stuff. I mean, that second half was a bit of a slaughter. It was looking like it was going to be competitive at the end of the first, and then G2 step up in a big way. Congratulations to them. And Tyloo, they did a good job on that T side. Their CT side is still something that clearly does need work. But, you know, we can already see kind of the effects of having Peacemaker there, how that's changing, you know, the way that they are approaching these scenarios. One thing I will say, their CT side did look incredibly stale. You saw that G2, once they figured it out, just rinse, repeat, same thing every round.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is about that is I called it after the first half. I said, you know, this is Tyloo, right? They have the great T side. They are very strong individually. They win those own battles. They get into the sites. Then they switch over to CT, and they're plagued by communication issues. You could see it so much into that second half. Not only communication issues, but also just not knowing what to do when G2 are just running into bomb sites and killing everyone. Because aim battles are great, right? But they only go so far. You've got to have some kind of communication as a team, some kind of, you know, switch up. I'd like to see maybe a little more aggression from Tyloo moving over to that CT side, try and set yourself up towards B early, get that AWP. They had a double AWP, I think, once or twice in play. They could have at least, you know, gone pushing up onto B main. They could have taken some A main control. We really didn't see too much from Tyloo in terms of switching up the pace of the game. They just kind of went for the same setup every time. And as we saw in that last round, I mean, everyone was watching Vents. DD pushes out, they kill him, boom, there's the first pick. It's just the same thing every single time.
Yeah, I was a little bit fearful at first when I saw G2 and how they were playing, and the fact that Tyloo did look to be in good form on that T side. As exactly as we predicted, though, it's the communication problems and the fact that they rely heavily on Vintet, and considering that, you know, that he's the player that they have problems kind of communicating with, perhaps as well as everyone else, on top of the fact that he's kind of the one who really does stand out, and this is the reoccurring problem for teams that have that one-star player, is that your CT sides are normally, you know, head over heels weaker than anything else, just because you learn where the one guy is who's good and you just go elsewhere.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Now we look at a really awkward spot for Tyloo because they're pushed into, you know, the first loss. It's Swiss system, so they're going to play against a team that has a loss. You know what's going to happen, right? You know, we all know exactly what's going to happen. They're going to end up against SK or something like that, and it'll just be like, oh, here Tyloo, welcome to Europe. Your matches are G2, SK, and then whoever's the third. Or
you look incredibly sassy just then. You should be the one to break the news to Tyloo live.
Just go straight to their hey guys. But yeah, it's just unfortunate. But let's hope they get a fairer matchup onto the second round. Because I'd like to see these guys take maps off people. Yeah. I'd like to see them have success in Europe. But unfortunately, it's nothing.
Yeah, it does seem like, you know, they are a team that struggles to catch a break. But speaking of catching a break, Wasn't that suave? We will be going ahead and taking a very, very quick break as the players get ready for the next map. But be sure to stick around and we'll be back in about 5-10 minutes.